but then she moved into acting. And this is where she really crossed over the border, right? You know, she did 9 to 5, and she did The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and
Steel Magnolias.
And then she jumped into Steel Magnolias, where she played that beloved role, and it really captivated her as this really accomplished actress. I believe she was nominated for some Golden Globes. If she hasn't won the Oscar for Best Song, it is a complete crime,
right?
Because of all the music that she has contributed to movies and the film industry, and how many other productions that she has been involved with. I believe there's been a number of things that she's done with the Hallmark Channel, her productions and stories that have been told about her life and the actresses who have portrayed her along the way. So I really feel like that, you know, we're going to be talking over these next couple hours and the next couple days how her legacy is just so widespread.
Right, and it does beg the question, which posthumous awards is she going to receive? Right. And not will she, it's which ones.
That's right.
Because it does give the sense that so many people have wanted to honor her, but in the same way that she did with the state legislature, she has not allowed herself to be honored in some of these ways. Will we see streets renamed? This is a very common way of honoring a person. Will we see any awards named after her? Will we see foundations? And we don't even know the extent of the way she's planned her estate. This was one of the most generous women, certainly in Tennessee, certainly in this country. What money is she giving to which organizations now upon her passing? Because remember, she didn't have any children of her own, but she was, as we heard from her nephew, who was the head of security who announced her passing, she was like an aunt grandma to very many people within her family.
Absolutely.
She's
in her family,
in that way.
in the entertainment industry. And I also was thinking about this, Lauren, when we were talking about legacy. My daughter has a bumper sticker on the back of her car that says, "What would Dolly do?" And I think about
it, gives me chills actually thinking about it.
Because and there's books written about, I think we have it at the house, of what would Dolly do. And that is part of her massive legacy, is how she has inspired not only young women but young men and people of all races and backgrounds to live a life of kindness and love and generosity, and I think we're going to see that in droves over the next couple of days and weeks and months, as people are talking about, well, I want to live my life like Dolly would want me to.
Well, and to your point, she was a woman of faith. She spoke very openly about her spirituality, about her beliefs, but she did it in such a way that never pinpointed or judged anyone else if they believed anything differently from her. So her reliance on butterflies, bringing those in, it's like a very typical symbol. Look, here's a great example. The Playbill cover with Dolly and her beloved butterflies. They're on the cover of it. And we, of course, know that Dolly Parton, her musical, is taking Nashville by storm before it's heading to Broadway. But Dolly wrote and produced a musical set around her life. It's told about her upbringing, her early success in her marriage to her late husband, Dean. Now last night I shouldn't say last night, excuse me, but at some point we caught up with Dolly at opening night for friends and family. And at the time she told us she could have premiered the show anywhere, but she did choose her home state to pay homage to her roots.
It means everything to me, because why not? I mean, it's like I'm going to tell my story. I mean, I can take it to New York, but to tell a country girl's story about country music and just about my life, I've lived here since 1964 and spent years coming in and out trying to make it. But it's just important because it's home, and if you can do anything for home, people know that much about me. I thought, well, this would be a wonderful place to start the show.
All right, 1964, born. There she is, Dolly Parton. You know, her career is nothing short of extraordinary, right? Selling more than 100 million albums worldwide, and is Billboard's #1 country artist of all time. So the musical follows the story of Dolly's life, right? From her upbringing in the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee to the bright lights of Hollywood. Of course, the significant and much performed Coat of Many Colors, which really, I think, told people about the poverty that she grew up in. In East Tennessee, but despite that poverty, there was so much love in her family. And that Coat of Many Colors, I think, to me, I remember when my girls were little, we would sing that song, and it was just such a great example of, even in depths of poverty and struggles, she found something good. She found a coat of many colors that her mother sewed together for her, a patchwork of all of these different, to make her this coat that, you know, a lot of kids wouldn't have wanted to wear, but she had such pride in it, and she was so excited about that. We want to talk about Dolly Parton kicking off her new symphonic concert.
Yeah, so this was also in Nashville, March 2025. The show devoted an entire night to the genius of her songwriting as a country music icon. I mean, dare I say, queen. She has been the queen of country music for a very long time. Right there in the middle, Caitlin Dry, you saw her singing there in that pink costume. I've actually been texting with her just in the last hour or so, because she was someone who loved Dolly Parton. I've asked her to come on and speak with us here this afternoon. At some point we'll hear from her, but I know, you know, she, like many young artists, says Dolly has been the person I've looked up to my entire life. All I've wanted to do was be like her. And there are countless young men, young women who've been saying that for decades, because she was a woman who not only created art, but her art did imitate life. And she curated every aspect of that particular symphony show, which pieces of music to play, how it would be played, the production. Dolly says that was such a unique experience for her because it had so many of her favorite songs in the show.
When you hear some of the sweet, simple songs, like My Little Coat of Many Colors and songs like that, with the way that they do that, I think it's very special, very tender, and those are the ones that seem to touch me the most.
So the Nashville Symphony says they've been hoping to do something like this since Dolly was honored with that Harmony Award all the way back in 1996 for the Symphony Ball. But that show, that symphony show, that one that started in 2025, was really just a
I've met her, said it was one of the best experiences ever. What was that like, just when you were a 28-year-old kid, or any other time?
It was amazing, and it only got better. You know, I was starstruck when I first met her, right? As anybody would. But then the more I got to know her, the more it was like, you know, you're hanging out with somebody that you're friends with, and she was one of the funniest human beings out there. I mean, absolutely hilarious person. Had a great sense of humor, and you know, and maybe something a lot of people don't know about is she had a really strong faith. She really, really did. You know, the Christmas show that we do on WVLT every year that you guys have been kind enough to let us do, it airs here and in Nashville. That's the first person we contacted. When Beth and I knew we were going to do a show, Dolly was the first person we contacted. And she said, wait, so this is about family and about faith? And we said, yes. And she said, so it's really going to be, they're going to let you do that? And we said, yes, they're going to let us do it. And she said, I'm in. And year two, she said, I'm in. And so
has given money toward human issues, right? Human endeavors.
Yeah.
When there is an issue that clearly needed help, she would say, I have the money and I can help. And when she'd be asked about it, she would never pick sides on anything. She just knew that she could make an impact, and she would.
And I love that you said that, because just came in from the U.S. Department of the Interior. This is having an impact everywhere. Dolly Parton carried the music, stories, and spirit of her Tennessee mountain home wherever she went, okay? Oh, here we are. We have it for you here. She was a lifelong champion of the Great Smoky Mountains and proudly shared her love for them with the world. While we may no longer see her working 9 to 5, we will always love her. Here's to Dolly, who made our world a little more beautiful. That is when we had the fires in the Smoky Mountains. She was forefront in wanting to get the information out there, putting her philanthropy to work in those terrible circumstances. I remember her being speaking outwardly about this, about how awful this was for the people of East Tennessee.
It's about 10 years ago.
10 years ago. But she, again, if there was, it was the coronavirus, if it was wildfires, if it was flooding, if it was any of these disasters, she didn't hold back.
No.
And we're going to hear a lot more, I think, from the people that worked with her to understand a little bit more how she made this machinery and how she made this whole machine of philanthropy.
Right.
You know.
Well, and of course we're hearing from people with big names, with big positions, speaking out now, just saying how they'll miss her. But she also impacted each of us individually. A woman named Heather Garcia moved from Texas to Lawrence County and built an entire room dedicated to Dolly. The tribute goes beyond the decor. Our Steve Mailing has that story.
In Lawrence County, you'll find vast fields, small towns, and behind one front door, a story of loss, love, and a little bit of light.
Here we go.
A tribute to one of Tennessee's most beloved icons.
I can't imagine my life not having Dolly in it.
Heather Garcia moved to Mount Pleasant from Texas, looking for a fresh start. And when she built this home, she knew there had to be a piece of Dolly inside.
I always wanted it to be something
Of a toxic workplace became too much for her husband, Gabriel.
On July 8th, 2022, my husband Gabriel, he took his life because of our job.
In the darkest days after, Heather says even simple things like finding a reason to smile felt impossible. But then, an unlikely connection to Dolly Parton.
My cousin was actually working. He was running a group of dry cleaners around. They would dry clean Dolly's all of her stage outfits. He had told what happened with my husband, and he went back and told Dolly.
And Dolly sent back something small, but life-changing.
The next time he came in, he had an autographed book for me from Dolly that said, "Hang in there, Heather, love Dolly."
For Heather, that message landed right when she needed it most.
It's hard to smile when you've been going through something like that. She, hand wrote a message and thought of me just for a moment in that time when I was going through so much. That was so special. I will never part with that book for the rest of my life.
And now, in this little room where people walk in surprised and walk out smiling, Heather says it's not just about Dolly. It's about finding the light, no matter the circumstances. For WSMV4, I'm Steve Mailing.
2 o'clock right now. If you're just joining us, we are following breaking news at this point. The family of Dolly Parton says the Queen of Country Music has passed away. It was a highly orchestrated announcement, a highly produced video that was just posted earlier today, and it's literally just come out in just over the last hour.
Yeah, we want to show it to you because I think it really shows that the family knew something was happening. Let's take a look at what the family shared.
Hey everyone. My name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I'm representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation, and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It is an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and is in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in the heavens. I first went on the road with Dolly as a kid, getting a taste of the road life in the early 1980s. Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent. By her example, we believed that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history. My family and I have shared a lifetime of beautiful memories with Dolly, but so have you. She has always been on your television, your record player, your CD, and on your phone playlist, becoming an extended part of your family whether you liked it or not. Our family and the team she has entrusted with her legacy will work diligently to ensure her spirit will live with us forever. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt Granny, Gigi. May God bless Dolly Parton, and may God bless you all. She will always love you.
That's, I mean, beautifully done, right?
Yeah.
Beautifully done under incredibly tragic circumstances. You know, her nephew talking about this, and but as we said, we have been reporting over the last couple weeks that she has been issuing videos responding to some honors and some exciting developments
Instead of being in person.
Instead of being in person. And I think we all really thought and we really hoped she's okay. She's beaten everything else. She can beat whatever this is as well. And this indicates that there was a plan in place. And look, there's a shot there of the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. We want to keep bringing you these tributes of what people are saying. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, Dolly Parton's legacy is not celebrity, but humanity. She came from poverty to become the most important native of Tennessee. She shared her fortunes for the good of all of us and shared her soul in every note she sang. That's from Kyle Young, the CEO.
How about the Tennessee Ag here? Tennessee has lost a true icon. Dolly Parton's extraordinary talent, I should say Tennessee Attorney General, the AG. Her extraordinary talent, generosity, and love for her home state touched generations far beyond the borders of Tennessee. Her music will live on, but so will the countless lives she changed through her kindness and service to others. He goes on to say, my thoughts and prayers are with Dolly's family, friends, and millions of fans around the world. Tennessee will forever be proud to call her one of her own.
Let's talk about Bill Haggerty. Tennessee has lost one of the greatest legends, a woman who never lost sight of her faith, her roots, or the volunteer spirit. Dolly Parton was a true Tennessee treasure, and her legacy will be forever defined by her love of faith, family, and the place she proudly called home.
And the Red Clay Strays also reacting today. They say we have a bridge back home that you cross on I-65 right before you get into Mobile, nicknamed the Dolly Parton Bridge. Dolly always reminded us of getting home after a long run. She went home today. One of the most influential writers and performers of our time. They say, rest in peace, Dolly. That woman wrote more than 3,000 songs. I mean, just a prolific writer.
And right from the White House, we're hearing from President Donald Trump, rest in peace, Dolly. The world loves you. There it is. A classic photo of her in front of the American flag. And I think about this a lot when we talk about her pride in being a Tennessean, a native of this state. She was very patriotic. That was a huge part of her persona. Speaking of other legends, we're hearing now from Reba McEntire. You can read here. There they are back in the day, looking fantastic. Well, I just got the news that my buddy Dolly Parton passed to the higher and greater side. Dolly, thank you for all the wonderful things you did for us here on earth. Your love, your music. You gave so much with that huge heart, huge heart. There will never be another you. We will remember and cherish every memory and every note that you ever played and sang. Thank you, Lord, for Dolly. She's going to have a blast in heaven, singing all her favorite songs with all her family and friends who have gone on before her. I'll never forget the first time I met you. I'll never forget our last conversation. I hold it with love in my heart. I will always love you, Reba.
Do you know what strikes me about her life is, and you've begun to point this out, Jeremy, is so many things that most people would have felt shame for. Not only did she look at it and say, I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm going to make it the thing that's the differentiator for me.
That's right.
The fact that she came from poverty, the fact she had nothing.
Right.
And that was not even just a part of her story. That was her entire identity that she allowed. I think this is probably why the LGBTQ community has aligned themselves so magnificently with this woman, because she took something that could have been draped in shame and she said, No, that's not how my story is going to go. And because she's refused to be defined, that's one of the things that made her just the queen of this industry.
So my dad would play WSM when we were growing up, and of course we would listen to Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson, and my family comes from a very rural area, right? So I think about that impact, that she was so beloved by the rural folks of wherever you lived across the country, wherever you lived across the world, and I think that is another indication where she has just touched the extremely rich to the extremely poor and all of us in between.
Because she was a human.
She was a human.
And she thought more about the human element and not as much about what something represented.
We're going to talk now about the Dolly Partons also always stepping in to help people get back on their feet, right? So she announced $1 million donation to put towards relief efforts. Dollywood is also donating $1 million and is now a donation center.
They've written a whole teleprompter up there for me to talk about, but I don't need to say a whole bunch of that stuff because I like to speak from my heart. And I just want you to know that I am totally with you because I am part of you. I love you.
I want to point out as well that is obviously from Hurricane Helene, where that hurricane just devastated parts of East Tennessee. And another example of when East Tennessee was in trouble, whether it was wildfires or Hurricane Helene, Dolly Parton was there with her money, always helping the victims, whether from flooding, natural disaster.
Our Holly Thompson has sat down with her many times as well. And in one of those instances, Holly Thompson surprised Dolly with some snowbird goodies. So take a look at this. Okay, so what it was I remember the video well because Holly handed over a pair of snowbird slippers. Here is the video, actually. Let's see. You guys let me know in the back if we're able to play this in full where we can actually hear her reaction to those snowbird goodies. But she did talk about how much she loved Snowbird because Snowbird, the jingle would play and say, you know, there's no school.
Yeah, she's a child of Tennessee, right? I mean, she grew up waiting for Snowbird, or at least knowing about Snowbird, and really talked about that quite a bit. You know, obviously, just an incredible.
Wow.
I mean, like we said, the statements keep coming in.
Yeah, so here's one from the Muppets. They say, there will never be another quite like Dolly Parton. She was the ultimate singer, songwriter, actress, performer, and philanthropist. She filled the world with light, and we are so grateful for every second we got to spend with her on stage and off.
All right, talk about another legend, John Rich, right? Mm-hmm. Dolly, and again, John Rich, politically far left. You know, we're hearing from
far right,
and people from the far left. This is again an example of this. Dolly Parton, an American original, absolute country music hero, has sadly passed away. Rest in peace. The whole world will miss you.
How about George Strait?
George Strait,
talk about
King
a contemporary.
George.
You've had such a huge impact on so many people all over the world. Dolly Parton, we will all miss you. May God bless the Parton family.
Let's talk about the hospital that is named after Dolly Parton. So this was from 2026, February of this year, East Tennessee Children's Hospital got a new name. The Knoxville-based facility officially rebranded as the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. So that came in a video message from Parton, who praised the hospital's doctors, nurses, and volunteers. So this partnership reflected a really shared commitment to caring for the sick, delivered with compassion. Hospital leaders emphasized that this is more than just a cosmetic change. It stressed that families should not expect changes to their care.
And we're hearing from Bridgestone now also reacting. Tennessee will always love you, Dolly. One of course, the major performance venues here. There's no telling how many times she's played at some of these big places throughout the years.
Absolutely. Again, from the White House, from President Trump. Quote, I am lowering the American flag throughout the United States for 1 week, beginning at 6 o'clock. Wow, that's significant.
Yeah.
All across the states, we're going to be at a half-mast, and we're going to see this. Said the world loves you. One of the greatest country singers and far beyond ever. There has never been anyone like her.
And there never will be again.
Never will be.
She created an entire economy of philanthropy for people who had significant wealth. And what was incredible to witness of her and her life was that the more she earned, the more she gave. And it was almost like the more she gave, the more she earned, right? And so then it became,
That's right.
It became a self-fulfilling thing because people adored her for her generosity. And then anything she would put her name on, any of the licensing, whether it was a hotel, whether it was the cake mix that you see in the baking aisle, right? I mean, anything she put her name on, it was always going to be a success because she was so beloved.
Yeah, and I think about this when we just saw the statement from George Strait. You know, when she came up in country music, it was still very much a man's world.
100%.
Right, and
yes.
so, and she paved that way, and Reba talked about that, and musicians like she and Reba, June Carter Cash, they fought for their position in country music, and Dolly just transformed, right? She wrote these songs that so many artists have covered and have done, and I think about, of all places, karaoke. When people talk about the karaoke they do, I mean, who doesn't do 9 to 5? Right? Who doesn't do so her impact is just so vast on all of our lives, and we all can remember all the times in our lives when we've heard a Dolly Parton song or saw a Dolly Parton movie or saw her musical. You know, she's deeply woven into our own DNA.
Well, and we have covered Dolly many times. WSMV's Holly Thompson talked everything with Dolly, family, Tennessee pride, her legacy, and her love for our TV station, WSMV.
In my coat of many colors, Mama made for me.
Dolly Parton, a name that brings smiles to millions with her relatable music, quick wit and charm, and overflowing generous heart.
Well, my love hopefully shows all over the place.
Her beginnings with deep roots tied to WSMV4.
Daddy was an old-time preacher man.
Dolly started on The Porter Wagner Show in 1967 in our WSM TV studios.
This whole world would be yours to have and hold.
This national treasure now turning 80, telling me over the years the critical role of family in her life.
Family is everything to me. You know, I'm very, very close to my family, my nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. We're just a big old family. And so we always try to help each other personally through anything that we're going through.
Behind the beauty, the rhinestones, awards, and numerous #1 hits is a compassionate soul who's as real and down to earth as they come.
I'm proud to be a Tennessee girl.
I asked Dolly in 2023 what kept her going.
I live on spiritual and creative energy, and that just spurs me on, and I love to work. I love what I do. I never did it for the money. I always wanted to make a lot of money, but I would still be doing it if I was just working as a waitress, saving my tips to do a demo to send it to Nashville with some of my songs. Surely I would.
And here I go.
From music to acting and philanthropy, Dolly's held numerous titles. I asked what she wanted her legacy to be.
Well, I want to be remembered as a good person, a person that tried to do good, try to make the most of every good thing I was given, all my talent. But I'm very proud of the Imagination Library, where we give books to children. I think that'll be as big a part of my legacy as my songwriting and my singing.
The Queen of Country telling me she's been a WSMV4 morning show fan for years.
You're just like somebody we have to see in the morning. It's like I have to have my coffee, I have to have my holly.
And we found even the one and only Dolly can still be surprised.
We love you, Dolly.
Well, I love you too. And Snowbird, I still love Snowbird. So if you get merchandise, you know I'm still... No, I did not know you were doing that. I swear. I've loved it.
You've got some more slippers. You've probably worn the others out, and a snowbird blanket.
I love my Snowbird. No school, no school.
Holly Thompson, WSMV4.
Talking about her, and we're going to be talking about her for the rest of the day, next couple weeks.
I mean, this is going to go on for quite a while.
It will.
I mean, remember, the state legislature tried to honor her in 2021 in a way that she said, don't do it, I'm not dead yet.
Right.
So whether we're going to have a statue of her, I mean, I would not be surprised if there are streets that begun to be renamed, if there's a rotunda that's renamed. I mean, this woman had the largest impact, I would say, of any living Tennessean right now currently.
Absolutely. I mean, she is the greatest Tennessean that has probably ever lived. I want to tell you about this. The Dolly Parton was at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum last May. She was there to celebrate the opening of her new exhibit on her life and career. It's called the Dolly Parton Journey of a Seeker. It focuses on turning points throughout her more than 60-year career. The exhibit includes clothes and awards and handwritten lyrics, instruments, photographs, and more. It will be open through September of this year.
I had forgotten about this until I started seeing this video. So she was in gold, now silver. She's about to be in bronze.
Yeah.
So in 2024 Paris Olympics, they were turning to Dolly to have them help to cheer on Team USA. The icon that she is. She was among those helping to bring people into the spirit, singing "We Are the Champions."
The Queen.
The Queen singing Queen, yeah, which I love that. She said, "Can't wait to cheer everyone on. You are all champions." Again, that was from 2024.
Let's hop back to November of 2023 because we gotta love Dolly, right?
Oh,
you
look
see
at
who
this.
she's there with? Mr. Peyton Manning. Big Orange rolled out all the stops against top-ranked Georgia.
And
Love
just,
that.
You know, this is something you've been pointing out, Jeremy, is like lately a lot of people have wanted to honor her.
Sure.
And we've been seeing her appearing in video messages. Just last week is a great example of this. She received another honor. Several of the biggest names in country music were celebrating live performances by the big names at the 19th Academy of Country Music Honors. That was Sheryl Crow right there. You see Trisha Yearwood, Dierks Bentley, Megan Maroney. So many artists were honored, and Dolly was one of the ones who was honored. She received the ACM Poets Award, and she couldn't attend, and now this is putting it all in perspective, but she did send a video accepting the award.
Songwriting has been my therapy. Songwriting has been my release, my joy. Songwriting has been a gift from God that has allowed me to touch people with words and music. So thank you, God, and thank you, fans around the world, and everyone at ACM's for giving me this very special award.
Could you even know she was sick? Look
Right.
at her. This isn't that long ago.
And
right?
this is something that I think only time and to the degree that she's going to allow people to know, because it was very clear this was orchestrated. She's going to have the information released at the interval that she wanted it released, because we've already seen in the announcement of her death that just came down barely an hour and a half ago that there are ways she wants things done. And she's been saying she's been dealing with health issues, which now puts everything into perspective. So we don't yet know what those health issues were. We don't know, you know, in the end, what did take her life. But we know even in the unveiling of her night flight expedition ride at Dollywood, she also couldn't make that. Just, what was that, a week or so, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
And also a video message saying, you know, hey, I'm taking care of my health right now, but makeup, wigs, the woman was a performer.
She was a performer.
You never knew.
And I keep thinking about this, that of course her husband Carl passed away last March, and this was her lifelong partner, her love of her life. And when you have been married that long, and your partner goes, and she says this, that there they are.
She struggled a lot.
She struggled a lot, and she put her own health on hold to deal with that. And so when you lose somebody that you have been with for that long, it changes you. It changes you physically. And so then, of course, she's lost the love of her life, and now she's facing these health issues. And you can understand, everybody understood what she was going through, but because, like you said, she was the ultimate show woman, she was always looking good.
Well, she wouldn't allow you to see her when she wasn't.
That's right.
So that, you know, it's our only view of her is the perfection of it, the showmanship of it. One of the many artists that she impacted, Casey Musgraves, is sharing this at least today, saying the world feels a lot less sparkly all of a sudden. Casey just rolled out her new tour just in the last several days.
And we talked about that. All the women that have been coming after her and the women she walked with on this path, and Reba McEntire was one of them. And Reba writing that she just got the news that her buddy Dolly had passed on to the higher and greater side. Dolly, thank you for all the wonderful things you did for us here on earth. Your love, your music, you gave so much with your huge, huge heart. There will never be another you. We will remember and cherish every memory and every note you ever played and sang. Thank you, Lord, for Dolly. She's going to have a blast in heaven singing all her favorite songs with all her family and her friends who have gone on before her. I'll never forget the first time I met you, and I'll never forget our last conversation. I hold it with love in my heart. I will always love you. I think about what's coming, Lauren, when we talk about the funeral or whatever celebration of life is held. Who will be at that?
Yeah,
It will be, talk about Taylor Swift wedding having who's who. Forget that. This is going to
Everyone's going to want to be a part of
everyone
this.
wants to be there to really pay homage to her.
So guys in the back, let's make sure to bring this up full screen. Jeremy and I are seeing this for the first time, so what we're about to read to you, we're also experiencing it with you.
Right.
So this is on the Dolly Parton official Twitter page, and it says, global icon and humanitarian Dolly Parton, known to the world as a beloved singer-songwriter, philanthropist, actress, playwright, and author, died peacefully today in Nashville. She was 80 years old. It names her beloved husband of 59 years, Carl Dean, who lost his life last year, as you were mentioning, Jeremy. But here's the part that this large paragraph, this rhinestone life paragraph is what I'm going to read to you now. A rhinestone life that shone bright enough for the